lacks get your hands dirty wisdom. I come from the farm, and that's what we used to call it. When you work in a field or you work on machinery, it's get your hands dirty wisdom because it's here and in front of you. And something about working on the farm is things happen. You know, you're out in the middle of a field, something breaks. Sometimes you have to figure out ways to tie it up and get it in to work on it. But you always happen to be awake and paying attention. So, like if you're mowing hay, you got to watch the sickle bar, the rocks, the holes, and especially badger holes. They like eating the front end of a tractor. You know, they're great big holes, but they're out in the middle of nowhere and they'll be covered up, and you drive into them, and every once in a while they'll take the front end of a tractor out. But you have to be aware of all this going on at the same time. And the sickle is running at 540 revolutions per minute. So everything is moving quite fast, and you have to be awake and you have to be aware of what's going on. Like planting corn, you got the corn planter, you got 4 rows of corn, make sure they're feeding. You got, the hardest one is make sure you drive straight. Nowadays, they don't have to. They just punch it into the computer, and the tractor drives itself. Me, driving straight, that was a unique challenge. Real unique challenge. But what I'm saying is you learn to adapt to the systems, but you also are open, and you have to, I call it my natural innovation, inspiration, but it's a natural wisdom. It evolves into natural wisdom. And see, one thing is, we'll get into it here in a minute, but education, knowledge, and wisdom are separate things. And see, the world runs on knowledge, but it's all inherited from the past. See, wisdom is here and now. As we go, we'll open you up to that. But 7 ways why indoctrinated education lacks get your hands dirty wisdom. Because get your hands dirty wisdom awakens trailblazer talents. As you get your hands dirty wisdom awakens your trailblazer talents, because nothing activates your genius faster than direct contact with knowledge. So that's the thing. Wisdom is here. Knowledge is wherever. You'll never have knowledge until you develop the wisdom, occurred the awakening or the wisdom of the moment. The moment your hands touch the work, your instincts switch on. I don't care whether it's a computer or whatever. And something that I really noticed is we got a lot of people go from college to office, and they never get any hands-on wisdom. The moment your hands touch the work or the objects or whatever, your instincts switch on, your clarity sharpens, and your natural leadership rises. Trailblazers are never born from classrooms. They're forged in friction, the mess, the mistakes, the magic of doing, especially the mistakes. I've never made a mistake in my life. I've sure energized some hellacious friction to expand out of it. See, that's the thing. Life is liberating, innovative friction every day. Because life is a university of university of adversity. That's what it is. Where your sovereign wisdom wakes up and recalls it awakens your inner wisdom to remember and recall what you're capable of. Why indoctrinated education lacks get your hands dirty wisdom. College education and PhD programming lack get your hands dirty wisdom because they trained the mind to operate in polished abstractions instead of lived experiences. The system rewards explaining the novelty, never engaging, so students become experts in theories. So students become experts in theories, yet never touch the frameworks. They've never tested and conclusions they've never collided with. See, if you don't have the hands-on, if you don't have some malfunctions in life, you never open up to your talents. All of malfunction is showing you where to rise and expand. Academic success depends on mental performance, never embodied competence, which produces minds full of information yet empty of friction that generates authentic wisdom. The world lacks authentic wisdom. When you look at the world and you look at what's going on, we've never really expanded out of it's the tyranny leadership of the world, and you can witness that going on with a couple people and some things that are occurring around the world. Why, getting your hands dirty unleashes natural, innovative agility. Contact activates wisdom that theory can never touch. When your hands meet the material of liberation, see, that's when you have the challenge, it's materials of liberation. Your instincts switch on and your perception sharpens. Direct contact forces your brain to improvise, adapt, and innovate in real time. The exact agility that no classroom, meeting, or model can simulate. Innovation is a body-based awakening. See, that's what innovation, inspiration, imagination, and intuition is friction. Is they're all body awakenings, never mental exercise. See, intuition is never a mental exercise. All the here and now stuff is never anything more than us staying stuck. So getting your hands on the events that innovate you or make your life will make you unsettled and outside of your comfort zone, exposes you to mistakes, surprises, and constraints. The raw materials of innovation. They're all the raw materials of innovation. Comfort keeps you predictable. And how do we try to stay inside the comfort zone to make everything predictable? I do. Does it work? Nah. But what it does is it sends me to the University of Adversity to awaken my dreamer's dexterity. Friction makes you innovative. Agility is born where things never go as planned. How does that work for you? Does everything go as it plans? Never does for me. There's always got to be, because if I did it as a plan, I would never feel responsible and act and innovatively appreciate what's going on. You can never innovate from a distance. You can only see the hidden angles, shortcuts, inefficiencies, and breakthroughs when you're inside the events that expand you. Never above it or below it. You got to be looking at it. Hands-on experiences turns you into a trailblazer because you're perceiving what others only theorize. How's life nothing more than a theory, and how have we done with it? Agility comes from seeing what the work itself shows you and liberates you from your inner holdings. Why indoctrinated education lacks imagination, inspiration, innovation, and intuition, because it worships memorization over imagination. Indoctrinated education trains students to recall what what already exists instead of envisioning what's above it, beyond it, and for them to sculpt. When the system rewards correct answers instead of creative questions, imagination trophies, it stops. You can't innovate when you're trained to repeat. How much education in the outside world today you see is on repeat? Grades, approval, credentials, and performance metrics hijack the natural spark of inspiration. And that's what it does. Classrooms hijack the natural spark of inspiration. Students learn to chase permission instead of listening to their own inner sovereign signals. Intuition dies when you're conditioned to wait for someone else's green light. And how is that even done in self-help personal growth? How have you not given yourself the green light? It teaches frameworks instead of fostering perception. Innovation and intuition come from seeing what others miss, never from following pre-approved models. Indoctrinated education hands out templates, theories, and Rubik cubes, which block the raw perception needed for breakthrough thinking. See, you're never going to break through anything by thinking. Inspiration, expressing the inspirations you feel, will break through all thinking, memory, mind molds. You can't innovate from inside a framework built to maintain the past. Why indoctrinated education creates social obedient mindsets. It conditions people to trade perception for permission. Indoctrinated education trains students to look outward for approval instead of inward for awareness. Grades, gold stars, and right answers become the currency of worth. Once you've conditioned to seek permission, obedience becomes automatic. How do you see that in the world today? I see that. Everybody's trying to follow this and all the money-making schemes, but where they're leaving everything out is here. That becomes easier. A mind that waits for approval stops trusting its own perceptions. It rewards compliance over curiosity. Where do you see that in your life? I used to be a big one in mine, but I've kind of rose beyond that. The system praises those who follow instruction, memorize frameworks, and stay inside the lines. Curiosity, questioning, and deviation are treated as disruptions. Over time, students learn that safety comes from conformity. Have you ever had that in your life? I've had that in my life a whole bunch. Obedience becomes a survival strategy, never a choice. It replaces lived experiences with secondhand authority instead of learning through contact. Experimentation and intuition, students are taught to trust experts, textbooks, and institutions. Experts is everything is from the past and in knowledge. None of it is innovative and free-flowing. This trains the mind to outsource its intelligence to external authorities. How do you outsource your life to external authorities to get what they have and then try to use it in your life and you come up nowhere? When you're conditioned to believe others know better than you, obedience becomes your default operating systems. Why indoctrinated education creates obedient mindsets. It conditions people to trade perception for permission. Indoctrinated education trains students to look outward for approval instead of inward for awareness. And here we go. Why get your hand dirty wisdom clears away stress. Doing pulls you, doing something, doing whatever the situation is in front of you, pulls your head out and back, pulls your head out of your and back into your body, because everything you do comes from the body. That's where intuition, imagination is, all in the body. Stress lives in mental loops, overthinking, forecasting, replaying, analyzing. Yet the moment your hands touch and you're getting involved in the situation, whatever's going on, your awareness drops out of the mind and into the body. Contact interrupts the mental noise. You can never ruminate when you're engaged. Presence replaces pressure. Presence replaces pressure. Friction gives you clarity that thinking can never deliver. Stress thrives in uncertainty and abstraction. Hands-on action gives you immediate feedback. What works and what doesn't, what's next? That's the thing. Hand-on action, you're always moving. When something faults here, you're always looking for a way around it or what's to get around it. And you always come up with a way. Clarity kills stress because it removes the unknowns that fuel it. When you touch reality directly, the fog lifts and the stress dissolves. Action restores your natural sense of capability and ability, letting go of control. Stress spikes when you feel powerless or stuck. Or you got a list of things and everything in the world is throwing that list into a turmoil. When that list goes into turmoil, it's really trying to show you a better way to do your list. Getting your hands dirty flips it and opens your system to that you can move freely, influence, build, adjust, and adapt to a better way. No matter how good you think you're doing and how everything is going, when you got something all planned out, the best list, best everything, always ask yourself this question: is there a better way? And let it go, and then being able to listen. Because doing reactivates your competence, and competence is the antidote to stress. Why there is zero wisdom in AI, and why wisdom originates from your daily experiences. I love AI. I use it all the time, but I'm also apprehensive to not to let it take over my life. AI has information. Only humans have contact with the physical world. AI can remix data patterns and language, yet it has no skin in the game, no friction, no consequence, no live stakes. Wisdom is born from impact, never input. If you never touch reality or nowality, you can never learn from it. And AI never touches anything. AI processes memories. Humans process moments. AI is a library of the past, not a participant in the present. It can only recycle what has already been recorded, as wisdom comes from the fresh, unfiltered unfiltered collisions you have with life every day, and the mistakes, the surprises, the improvisations. Wisdom is now an event, encounter, never a stored file. AI can stimulate answers, but only humans can sense the authenticity. AI has zero intuition, zero instinct, zero embodied perceptions. It can never feel tension, risk, resonance, or alignment. Your daily experiences sharpen those senses, the ones that guide real choices and an authentic innovation. Wisdom is felt acumen, and AI feels nothing. And that's something I really have opened up to because AI, you write it, and how is it stealing the innovation of people? It's great. Don't get me wrong, but everybody, all these businesses are going to AI. My question is, how much does AI buy from somebody? Because something about it, see, we got too many people trying to do things to take away the grandeur of life. Why, young graduates lack get your hands dirty wisdom and stay stuck in knowledge as they go through life because they've been trained to master concepts, never consequences. Fresh graduates spend years learning ideas with zero real friction attached. There's no stakes, no pressure, no feedback. Loop, and they loop theories and floating in mental space. Without consequence, knowledge stays abstract. Wisdom only forms when knowledge pushes back, and school shields them from that push. They've been rewarded for knowing, never for doing. The entire system praises correct answers, polished papers, and intellectual performance. But the world rewards initiative, improvisation, and contact. Graduates enter life with a mind full of information, yet a body with zero experiential wisdom. It has no get your hands dirty wisdom. They're experts in explanation, never execution. They've never built the instincts that only come from touching the events of your life. Intuition, agility, and innovation come from hands-on collisions with real problems, through friction, mistakes. Fresh graduates have never had enough reps, mistakes, or messy attempts to develop those instincts. They default to what they know, knowledge, because it's the only tool they've ever practiced. Without contact, there's no instinct. Without instinct, there's zero wisdom. The difference between wisdom and knowledge is collected, wisdom is earned. Knowledge comes from books, lectures, theories, and secondhand explanations. Wisdom comes from collisions with real life mistakes, the friction from the consequences, and the breakthroughs. Knowledge fills your mind, wisdom reshapes your being. Knowledge stores information, wisdom upgrades perception. Knowledge tells you what something is, wisdom shows you how it actually functions. When you're in contact with it, knowledge is memory based, wisdom is moment based. Knowledge informs, wisdom reveals. Knowledge repeats the past, wisdom responds to the present. Knowledge is built from what has already been recorded, just like AI, taught or proven. Wisdom emerges from what you're sensing, noticing, and navigating right now. Knowledge is static, wisdom is alive. Knowledge recycles, wisdom innovates. Why inspiration, understandings, comprehension, and revelation rise you out of the stagnation of think, know, learn thoughts. Inspiration bypasses the mind and activates your deeper wisdom. Thinking and knowing and learning are memory-based loops. They recycle what you've already absorbed. Inspiration never comes from memory. It rises from direct inner ignition. It lifts you out of stagnation because it never uses the past as its source. Inspiration is a fresh signal. Thinking is a rerun. Understanding and comprehension reorganize your perceptions, never your information. Thinking stacks more data on top of old data. Thinking stacks more data on top of old data. Yet real understanding shifts, rises you to see, never what you store. When perception upgrades, stagnation breaks because you stop navigating reality with yesterday's map. Comprehension energizes and clears your lens of life. Knowledge just fills your shells. Revelations dissolve the thinker entirety. Revelation is never a thought. It's clarity. It's clarity. It's a clarity event. It never adds to your mind. It interrupts your mind. Revelations snap you out of the think, know, learn trance and drop you into a direct awareness where movement, creativity, and agility return. Revelations is the moment your mind stops recycling reality and starts unveiling your trend-setting talents, chauffeuring you through life in a bold, bright way. See, the thing about get your hands dirty wisdom, it never takes you backwards. It shows you the way forward. And I am Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Podcast, and I want to thank you, and may you enjoy your day, and good night.